Alright, so we're about ready to sell the van. We're actually going to be moving to Europe for my job, so not going to bring this huge van over to Europe with us. So in this video, I just wanted to give an update. A lot of people in the previous videos where we built the van have asked, what did you like, what didn't you like, and what would you do differently if you did it all over again? So I kind of wanted to go over some of that. And the first thing I wrote down blanket statement. Everyone is different. Everyone's needs are different. So a lot of these things that I say, these are just my opinion. Honestly, I've been putting off this video because I don't really like making videos about me just blabbing about my opinions. Everybody's got opinions. Everybody's opinions are different. They're not fact. They're just opinions. So anyway, with that being said, just know that some of these things may apply to your situation and some may not. Depending on how you use the van, a lot of these things would be different for you. I'll start off with just a list of the things that we did like about the van and the way we did it. So number one, the big thing that we liked is that it was a cheap build. You saw in the beginning, we spent about $6,000 getting it going. Of course, we've since then spent at least $2,000, probably a little more than that on maintenance. A lot of that's just routine maintenance like brakes, oil changes. We did have to replace the ignition coils and the spark plugs, which is a pretty common thing on these Fords, and a couple other little things. One other mechanical issue we've had is the catalytic converter disappearing overnight. These vans are kind of a target because it's easy to roll under them without having to jack them up. I ended up just putting a straight pipe on it. It's a little bit louder, but now there's no catalytic converter to steal. So one other thing to keep in mind if you live near a big city. But besides that, it was a great trial run. I kind of enjoyed building it, so if trying something out and using your hands sounds like fun, I think it's a great way to start out rather than spending $70,000, $80,000, maybe over $100,000 on a van and you're not really even sure if you're going to use it that much. I think this is a great way to just see if you like it or not. For our use, we've basically only used this for weekend trips. I think the longest trip we've done in this has probably been 4 days. If you're planning to use it a lot longer than that or live out of it, this van would not be sufficient even for our needs. Not being able to stand up, this is me sitting on the bed. That would get old really quick if you were trying to live in the van. The electrical system we installed, that was plenty for our needs. So basically we just have this battery. I have a link to a video here on how we did the electrical. The big things that we have are lights and a fan on 24 volt on a 24 volt system, and that's been plenty. Oh, and the inverter. We also have the inverter down here, and that just converts our DC power to AC power, and that's been able to charge anything we've needed to charge on a 4-day trip. Just having a fan in general just to keep the air fresh was really nice. The backup camera and the touchscreen radio with a connection for an iPhone has been super nice. I'm really glad we did that. And if you do a backup camera, you want to do that first because you want the wiring to go through the van. Things that we would do differently. So again, this van is not livable. I think living in this van would be very difficult. Maybe one person could do it. Definitely for us as a couple, we could not live in this van. And now we have a kid. The three of us can definitely not live in this van. Another big thing is we have the sink and counter here. And we really never, on weekend trips, we never really used the sink. We didn't really do dishes in here. We maybe used it like a couple times, and then most of the time we just stopped bringing water, stopped emptying out the bucket, and didn't really use it at all. So I wouldn't put a sink in to a van that I'm just going to use for weekend trips. I would have preferred to just have this space for gear and more storage. One other change is we would have liked to make this bed just maybe 2 inches higher. Put a measurement here on how high it actually is, but we would have liked maybe 2 or 3 inches higher, and that would have just given more storage underneath the bed. Another change I would have made is in the cab up front, I installed kind of a carpet for us, you know, we were pretty dirty. We were always out in the woods. We were never really in, I guess, civilization. So dirt getting tracked in there, it would be better if it was kind of a rubber or a material that you could just kind of wash out really easily instead of being carpet. Another thing that I really didn't like about the van and vans in general, that I'm still questioning if we're going to get another van, is gas mileage. So the gas mileage on this thing is anywhere from like 12 to 15 miles a gallon depending, and that just chews through gas. It's expensive to drive it anywhere, so it's kind of, sometimes on a weekend trip you're like, do I really want to spend $150 in gas, or should we just take the car and spend a quarter of that? And then the last thing we would change, the way that we use this van, as you can see here and here, is a lot of the times we're moving around rafting gear or kayaking gear, and you know, all the little cubbies and shelving and everything, it looks really nice, and I think, you know, that's probably what made you click on this video. But for us, a really simple build where there's a lot of cargo space and a bed, I think is in the future all we're going to do. If I were to do it again, I would have a bed, an electrical system with an inverter, lights, and a fan, and a bunch of space for gear and easy materials to clean. And that's where I would stop. That's as far as I would go. Personally, I would never do sink and kitchen again. I would go really easy on the cabinetry. We didn't really need all this organization. We just kind of became messy anyway. We were just not very clean, I guess, when we were going out camping. That's what I would do differently. Again, everybody's different. You may really enjoy the little kitchen and having everything, and if you're living in a van, I think having all that stuff is pretty nice. But again, for weekend trips up to 4 or 5 days, a couple times a year, I think all that stuff is just kind of unnecessary and gets in the way. That's just my opinion. Anyways, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed all this fun van stuff. We've enjoyed driving it around and doing weekend trips in it. It's been great. Gonna be kind of sad to see it go, but also excited to move on and either get a new van, thinking about getting a Toyota Sienna, or looked at in Europe maybe getting a VW camper van. We'll see. Obviously both of those options are a lot more expensive than this, so gotta save up a little more money. All right, thanks for watching, and good luck on your project.